Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
Kashering tables and countertops. How does one kasher a table and countertop according to halacha? So as it is with all the laws of kashering, prior to discussing the methods of kashering, we must first analyze the case at hand and see, is this material a kasherable material or not? So marble and wood tables and counters are kasherable. So marble counters, which are very common in many homes, can be kashered in the method that we will explain. However, counters made of quartz or engineered stone are similar to a kli cheres and are not a kasherable material. Tables made of wood are kasherable, as we said. Tables made of plastic are debated amongst poskim if it is considered a kasherable material. Now that we have analyzed the status of the material of the counter and table, we will proceed with whether they must be kashered, and if so, how one can do so with those materials that are kasherable. So ideally one can argue that there's no need to kasher a counter or table, irrelevant of what material it's made of, as we only need to kasher items, vessels that have absorbed hot chametz during the year. You don't cook on your table, you don't cook on your counter, you don't place hot food directly on it, you use a plate or a pot. So perhaps it shouldn't need any kashering at all. So while this argument does receive some merit practically, Minhag Yisrael is, as recorded in the Alter Rebbe, Shulchanaruch 451, Halacha 58, regarding tables, to kasher tables, and that would also mean counters for Pesach. And the reason given is twofold. Number one, sometimes you place a pot down on the counter or table, and some of its contents spills, which is very hot, onto the counter or table, hence causing it to absorb. So if you made pasta or spaghetti with hot water, and some of the hot water spilled onto the counter or table, your counter and table have now absorbed kli rishon chametz. Furthermore, adds the Alter Rebbe, at times people occasionally place hot chametz directly on the counter or table, and thus, because of these reasons, the minhag is to kasher them. Nonetheless, this only applies to counters and tables which are used without tablecloths, as then there's a chance that the table absorbs some hot chametz. If, however, one's table is always covered by a PVC tablecloth or thick plastic tablecloth and the like, then since the material of the table has never been in contact with any food, not even a pot, as it's always covered, it does not need to be kashered at all, even according to the custom. Now, how does one kasher it? Being the minhag is to kasher it, how do you do so? So if it's not made of a kasherable material, which we already said, engineered stone for a counter, or plastic for a table, which is debatable, then it's not kasherable at all. But if it's made of marble or wood, how is it kashered? So the minhag is to kasher it with iri kli rishon and even meluban, which means is that you pour boiling water onto the counter and or table, and at the same time you use an iron to iron the water that is on the counter and cause that water to then bubble, to boil, and that is as if you performed hagala onto your counter or table. This is done due to the suspicion that perhaps you placed that chametz that is hot directly onto the counter or table. Now, what do you do if your counter or table is not made of a kasherable material, such as engineered stone? So in such a case, since it is not kasherable, your only other option is to cover it. As the general rule is in the laws of kashering, that you only need to kasher something if the kosher food or Pesach food will come in direct contact with that vessel. If, however, there is an obstructing material that is in between your Pesach or kosher vessel and the non-kosher vessel, then that obstructing material prevents any transfer of Isser taste, of chametz taste, into your food. Thus, if you cover your table or cover your countertop that is not kasherable with PVC or thick tinfoil, then from the letter of the law, it does not need to be kashered at all, whether it's made of a kasherable material or not. So to summarize from the letter of the law, if you have a kasherable material counter such as marble, pour hot water with an iron, even meluban, and if you don't, then you simply cover with PVC or tinfoil. Nonetheless, The minhag of Klal Yisrael is that despite the fact that once you've kashered your kasherable counter, you no longer need to cover it, nonetheless, the widespread custom is to cover it anyways. And thus, we always do both actions. Number one, we kasher the counter with hot water and of the melubon, and number two, we cover it with tinfoil, PVC, and the like. The reason for this custom is because we suspect that perhaps some chametz remained intact on the counter or table and we weren't able to remove it, and we don't want to place foods directly on top of that on Pesach. So because of this, in addition to the kashering, we also cover it. Nonetheless, as we stated from the letter of the law, if you kashered your counter and it's made of kasherable material, you do not have to do so, and it may, from letter of the law, be used directly. In conclusion, it's important to note, if your counter is not kasherable, such as if it's made of engineered stone, then you should be careful to never place a hot pot directly onto the tinfoil or PVC, and rather always use a trivet as an additional separation between your hot Pesach pot and the counter that was not kosher, in addition to the PVC and tinfoil, as explained in our article.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.